We'll be back from the break. You're still watching Smart Means Business. I'm Andrew Barigi, definitely here on your daily kickstart. That is Smart Means Business, as we bring you the latest information in relation to how business operates. Ali, this morning, well, before we proceed into our other discussion, the business insight, I would still love to remind you to kickstart your day with investing, of course, in securities with Zabo. That is a platform from Alltex East Africa, which just enabled you to trade government bonds and securities for a fee of just 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, as I speak right now, the market's already open, and for you to be a part of this, it's quite very simple. Start 292 hash is the code for you there, and with this code you'll be in position to buy these bonds and securities for a fee of just 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, the markets opened at 8:15 and they'll be running up to 3:15 p.m. East African time. This is effective Monday up to Friday, apart from the weekends and the public holidays when these markets cannot be accessed. But despite that, you have all these other days to capitalize and make some profits. Remember, on top of Start 292 hash, you have to register with your national identification number for you to proceed efficiently. Now, Zabo says my money, my future, and Alltex East Africa says do something new. Okay, well, right about now, of course, as I told you, that the topic is going to be really relying on looking at the position of Uganda across, of course, the borderless Africa, and also our position in the region as a country when it comes to manufacturing. And now with me, I'm joined with Mr. Ezra, is coming in from the Uganda Manufacturers Association. Of course, with the dialogue they had yesterday, taking a look at the manufacturers, what position do we, where do we stand as a country, Uganda, when it comes to manufacturing in the region, the contribution of industry when it comes to employment in the country, Uganda. Mr. Ezra, welcome on the show. A very good morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
And as a country, we appreciate what you do.
Thank you.
Every morning, tell us what is happening in the business world, and we don't take it for granted. Thank you very much.
It's a great honor.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, now looking at the dialogue you had yesterday, you know, the biggest question in here, because before we even think about a borderless Africa, where do we stand as in the region as a country, Uganda, when it comes to manufacturing?
Thank you very much. I would say in a summary, that if you want to be the best, you compare yourself to the best.
Absolutely.
In the region, we call East African Customs Union, if you want, or common market. We are currently talking of 6 to 7.
6 to 7?
Yes, but for the discussion, let's take 6 countries.
Okay.
We are talking about Uganda, Kenya,
Tanzania,
Rwanda, Burundi, South Sudan, and Congo for
Congo,
big,
yes.
big interest. In the region, because we started the 3, we want to say the 3 giants, but we are very much concerned that we thought we are the 3 giants, but we are the least in the 3 giants.
The 3. We are the,
so our struggle as industry is to ensure that we catch up.
Okay. Because
we started the race in the 3 in 2013. Then when you use one indicator, we call the value added by industry to the economy. Because the economy is big,
yes,
but this sector called industry, what is the value addition? Is the indicator that we thought is the best for us to measure ourselves upon. And in the industry, in the region, by 2013, 10 years from now, or 10 years before now.
Before now, yes.
Kenya was the leading contributor, or Kenya's industry contributed better than the 2 of us,
yes,
to the respective GDPs. Kenya was contributing, was the leading to begin with. Tanzania was following, Uganda was the 3rd.
The 3rd, yes.
Along the way, in 2018, 5 years later, Tanzania overtook Kenya. But we remained behind.
We still remain in that position.
We still remained comfortable in our position. 2022, Tanzania still leads. Kenya is struggling to come back to their position. But we seem to be comfortable in our position. That is one thing that has been disturbing us, or that sets our goal as a sector.
Okay.
To ensure that we compete and outpass.
Outpass, yes.
Because we have reasons all good reasons as to why, in terms of value addition, Uganda should outcompete Kenya and Tanzania. So that was the major theme of the focus for the dialogue.
Okay.
And then we said, if that's the case, how do we work it out? Stakeholder analysis. We said, let's come with other stakeholders into the building of the economy, and we see what do we do with this. So the dialogue was about looking for solutions and comparing, did the budget contribute to look to solutions or potential solutions to this kind of challenge or goal we want to run.
And if we were to compare to the previous year.
Yes, that was one objective.
Yes.
The second objective was to rally our stakeholders that we think need to contribute to this goal, that us, yes, as industrialists, we are holding the mantle, but we think that we can't do it alone. We need to rally stakeholders. So in the dialogue, we had the academia who are doing research. We had the government who are doing the structuring of the doing of business environment.
Yes.
We want to see how these policies can support the agenda. We invited media to be there and send our information to the public, because it's not us. When we produce out there who consumes these things, they contribute a lot to attainment of this goal. So that's what the dialogue was all about. In other words, we are trying to look for solutions to achieve this goal.
Well, now, taking a look at that, because when we talk about industry, I'll talk about value addition, it brings me to a point of employment. How far have we gone in terms of that, establishing that?
As industrialists, the employment objective is normally secondary.
Secondary?
Yes. It is secondary in that the mandate to train the people that come to work in the industries starts with the families, comes to institutions, and then eventually to government. When we said, for us, industrialists look at employers as inputs, or as a fact of production. As a fact of production, which we pay. So the actual relation industrialist and employer or employee is, have you paid me at the end of the month?
Yes.
That's the would-be direct relationship. But we discussed this, and we think that industrialists we are looking at quality labor. We are looking at labor productivity.
Yes.
Because when the productivity increases, the cost of labor reduces. That's our biggest concern.
Okay.
And then in the dialogue, how did we address this issue? We addressed the issue from 3 angles. The first angle was how we urge government to support the vocalization.
Yes.
Increasing the stock of vocational institutions. There are so many vocational institutions, but we feel government has not done enough to bring it up to this level where they produce competitive labor in the region.
That is very, very key.
Yes. Second thing that we are talking about here is how we can support the transitional skilling. When these people are leaving universities, when they are leaving vocational, the world out there is so dynamic.
Very true.
Industries are so dynamic. Technology is so dynamic. So we felt that us as industrialists, we have a role to ensure that we support the skilling agenda. And then the industries committed, have always committed, but again, they retaliated to continue supporting and working with institutions to give apprenticeship opportunities, to give internship opportunities, to give industrial training opportunities to these, they would be industrial labor for the future. So that is something that was well articulated, and I think we all got a win-win in terms of agreed upon commitments. The second thing that was talked about was the mindset skilling.
Mindset skilling.
Okay. In the dialogue, we agreed that it is not mindset change the way it has always been put by some.
Because you may change your mind, but you're not skilled.
Here we are talking about tuning, mindset tuning, and we agreed that industrialists, we have a job to play in as far as tuning the minds of our labor, or the would-be labor for the future. What came out is that at Uganda Manufacturers Institute Association, we have started a skills sort of institute that aims at soft skilling in terms of mindset tuning. You get someone who is ready to work. You see them in figure. They look able-bodied.
Yes.
But they lack some certain attributes of endurance, some attributes of self-motivation, some attributes of working for an agenda. You ask someone, yes, I give you a job, but what do you want to achieve out of this job? Someone tells me, no, me, I want to work.
Or they want to make a living.
Exactly. Yeah. So we are trying to say, let's not take this whole burden to an industrialist. Let's take these people through a certain process of mindset tuning, which we have been doing at Uganda Management Institute, but now we have broadened it to get support from industrialists, to get support from tertiary institutions, because the dialogue had all these stakeholders, and we want to carry on. The last part that was discussed in respect to labor productivity. There is a huge group of the force. When you say labor force, what are the constituents of that constituency? The constituents start, or the bigger part of the labor force, which is at the bottom of the pyramid, is the casual laborer. But because the casual laborer was abused during the colonial time, whenever you're talking about labor and labor productivity, we don't want to talk about them. Because we feel, you see,
their contribution is insignificant.
We don't want to acknowledge their contribution. The truth of the matter is that their contribution is enormous. No one should deceive you that you are going to attain anything without wages. But in this country, we do not have an eloquent strategy for developing the would-be wager. The wager. Someone works from their mother's home. He walks to the street and says, I'm looking for a job. And then we are saying, look, we could do much better by orienting this person from family to work. Because our focus, the focus of government, the focus of every stakeholder has been on the people who are transiting from school to workplace. But we are saying there is a person who circumvents that process. He comes from home and he's going straight to work. Where does he pass? In the army, you pass through an army training college or army training, say,
academies. They have academies.
They have those areas where they are trained from. In politics now, you hear people go to Changwans to become good cadres of government. Civil service, maybe for civil service has two major institutions to orient people into civil service. We had in Sami's Institute, who would work on the basic, you would call the lower technical people, and then now you have Uganda Management Institute. These institutions are playing a very big job. Now, in the casual labor world, there is that vacancy. And then we have brought it to government. We are trying to say, and it has been taken over now by NPA, the National Planning Authority, to see how best this agenda can be brought onto work, and we get solution to it. These are critical areas that contribute or explain the reasons as to why the labor productivity in this country lags behind compared to the region, and it contributes to the reasoning why we as industrialists, why the industry, the value addition from industry still lags behind compared to the region. So the dialogue was able to delineate properly that aspect of the employment and the labor productivity and how we support government to move forward.
Well, I mean, talking about that aspect of vocational institutions, don't you think the current education system is trying to address that? The current curriculum, which is being adopted in terms of equipping skilling to the labor force?
Yeah, thank you. This I will equate it to a scenario where they say that once the mother is in the labor ward, thank you very much. Let's wait for the son or a daughter at a graduation level.
Exactly.
Or at when they are transiting into marriage. No. When someone is in the labor ward, with good planning, someone should be looking at how do we pay the bill. Someone somewhere should be looking at how do we get the small bed for this child.
Exactly.
So that at the end of the day, the entire system is working. We appreciate the fact that government eventually listened to the prayers of the employers. That the people you've been sending us need some. We need to change something in the curriculum. Government eventually listened to that, and we appreciate that there is that positive trend. But again, we are saying, let's not be complacent.
Okay.
It's not enough to change the curriculum. Curriculum could be orienting. It provides the basics. But how do we add on to the basics in terms of eventually graduating this person to a skills master?
Okay.
That's what this whole chain play comes in to do, that we support the curriculum. The curriculum is at the tail end or the tail start of the chain, and they're injecting into the system people who are coming in to work. But every other chain player has a role to play.
A role to play.
Yes, that's why you say by the time they reach vocations, we must have done a better job at the vocational level. We must have prepared for them. By the time they come to the recruiting firm, the recruiting firms should be able to know how to evaluate and assess the skill sets these people have before now they transit them to the employer.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely, very interesting. Well, we're still discussing the position of Uganda when it comes to the region, in terms of output and productivity, but definitely we cannot talk about such matters and leave out quite a very key factor, and that is the workforce that is responsible to drive that massive output. Well, I'm still with Mr. Ezra here from the Uganda Manufacturers Association, breaking down these matters, definitely following on the dialogue that they had yesterday for the manufacturers, of course, being in new financial year. These are some of the aspects that really are very important to look into, and we also have to do some comparisons as compared to last year. Well, right about now, I'm going to get into the break, but before we get in there, I would love to remind you that the markets on the Zabo platform are already on. *292# is the code for you there, which will avail you with options where you'll be in position to buy government bonds and securities for a fee of just 15,000 Uganda shillings. Now, the markets opened as I speak right now. They're already on. They opened at 8:15 a.m. and they'll be closing up to 3:15 p.m. and this is effective Monday up to Friday, apart from the weekends and the public holidays when these markets cannot be accessed. But despite that, you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make some profits. And also remember, on top of *292#, you have to register with your national identification number for that to be possible for you to trade efficiently. And regardless of where you're located, whether you have a button phone, whether you have a smartphone, this is very possible as long as you dial *292#. Well, now let's get into the break, and of course when we return, we shall be now taking the conversation when it comes to the borderless Africa in terms of Uganda's competitiveness. Do our products really command that? When it comes to negotiating prices, how much we can earn actually from them, or we are being dictated for how much we can offer out there to the world. That and more is coming up after the break.
2024, driving business.
Say goodbye